Hello everyone, I'm Devin Beach. I maintain a handful of RPG system implementations for Foundry VTT, and today I wanted to take you through a quick overview of the Low Fantasy Gaming System by Pickpocket Press. There was someone asking for a video over on LFG's Discord, so I went ahead and threw this together to maybe help them and anyone else decide whether Foundry, specifically the Low Fantasy Gaming implementation for Foundry, is right for them. Now, first I'll go ahead and say that Foundry has become my favorite of the virtual tabletops. I like that it's a one-time purchase, I like that I can host from my own computer, and I'm constantly impressed by all of the community-made modules available both for free and for purchase. It's not only my favorite VTT for the systems that I have coded for, being Low Fantasy Gaming, Low Life 2090 by Pickpocket Press, and The Black Iron, and releasing soon Ghost Ops Second Strike by Feral Games. But I also like it for games like D&D 5e, Pathfinder 1e, Morkborg, and a ton of others. So what you can expect from this video are a quick overview of Foundry's interface, an in-depth walkthrough of the LFG character and NPC sheets, a breakdown of the different compendiums that come with the LFG system, and a few module suggestions to help your game run smoothly. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the system. All right, so this is Foundry's interface, main interface that is. And I've got a test scene set up here, but with no bells or whistles as of yet. On the left here, you'll see the toolbar. It is currently selected token controls. All right. And I've got some actors on the scene, so with the select tokens tool selected, you can see that you can click on your tokens, you can drag them, you can move them up and down, and double clicking you can bring up the character sheet. Same thing for the NPCs if you are the game master. Next you'll see target controls, which currently are not active in Low Fantasy Gaming. You'll also see the ruler, the measure distance. You can click on a character, kind of select, drag, control click, and see exactly how far you're going. The cool thing with this is once you've gotten your distance figured out, you can press spacebar and it'll automatically move the token. So let me select this token, move him back up here, and there we go. The next thing under the Foundry controls are measurement controls. This is kind of different than that initial ruler in that it's not exactly moving your token, but instead figuring out area of effect attacks, like say a 10-foot circle. Boom, right there. You've got cone effects. You've got your squares or cubes. And you've got your rays, which will be your standard straight line of effects. And you can just go ahead and click clear all templates once you're done with those, and they'll be gone. Next are the tile controls. I'm not really going to get too far into those today. Again, this is mostly focusing on the Low Fantasy Gaming character sheets. So this is just essentially putting small images on your map for use mostly with other modules. You've got your drawing controls, pretty standard here. If you're used to Roll20, pretty much the same thing. You can draw rectangles, circles, polygons, free drawing, and you can do text. Here are the walls. So you'll see, if I select on this token, this part of the screen goes black. That's the edge of the battle mat. But he can see through these current walls. We'll go ahead and go over here to the wall control, and we'll go ahead and click, drag, and then hold control, let go of the mouse, and then you can just kind of click on your points throughout for some quick walls, and we'll release control, do one last click, and that is your wall right there. Just for fun here, we will do the same thing over to this wall. And now I'll go over, click on this character, and because he was able to see everything beforehand, I'll clear the fog of war, go back over, and we've got quick walls, super easy. You can do the same thing with doors. I can control, click, drag, let go of control, boom. And there's a door that my character can see. I can go on over here, and since I have not locked this door as the game master, I can open it. So that was a quick overview of walls. I'll click drag so that I can then see the rest of the scene as the GM. You can do everything from regular walls. There are terrain walls, which you can see somewhat through them, but you can't move through them. You can have invisible walls, which you can see through completely but can't move through. You have ethereal walls, which you can move through but not see through. Secret doors, all of that good stuff. And as before with the measurements, you can also click here and you will be able to clear all walls if, say, you don't want the walls anymore on that scene. This lighting, you've already seen it with the clearing fog of war, but it can also set a light source. We'll go ahead and make a pretty decent sized one. You can switch it to day, which it is currently set to. You can also transition into darkness, where it will slowly make the scene darker except for any light sources. And so I'll transition it to daylight just so that we're not messing with our vision at all. And I'm going to go ahead, and you can also delete any of these things, rulers, walls, things like that, by selecting it and clicking the delete button on your keyboard. Next, you've got sound, which is ambient sound. You actually set those up exactly like you will light sources, and you will only be able to hear that specific sound whenever you get into the radius, and it will slowly get louder the closer to the center of the source that you get. And lastly, you've got journals, which you can essentially create a journal, drop a pin in here, and it's really, really great for GMing. Over here on the right, this is the main chat log. This is where all of your roles will be. This is where all of your text conversations will be. You have the encounter. You can create a new one, have everyone roll initiative. Your scenes. Most of these are viewable purely from the GM's point of view. That's where I'm coming from here. You've got your characters, or your actors directory. You've got your items directory, your journals directory, rollable tables, card stacks, your audio controls. These are like playlists for both ambient, and you can set background music that is completely global, your compendiums, and then eventually your settings. I'm not going to get too far into this. Again, we want to get into the meat and potatoes of this video, your character sheets. So I'm back in the actors directory. Let me click here on Ishtrak, our character that we're using. This is the main character. If you create a character, you can see that they're new actor, and you can have either a character or an NPC. So this is the player character sheet. You'll see pretty basic stuff here. It's got all of the health, AC, all of that. This is where you can select your crit range for, say, the higher levels, when your crits end up going from 19 to 20 or even 18 to 20. favor for if you are a cultist, luck, and you can choose your modifier right here. Your reroll pool rests. Here's a description. If you want any notes, you can click over here. Attributes, skills, equipment, features, spells, and effects. Now, I did run through that pretty quickly, and that is purely because we are in the process of changing the sheet layout. So what you'll end up wanting to do if you want the new and improved sheet layout while we're still playtesting it is go up here to this sheet button. Under this sheet, click here and you'll see LFG Actor Sheet Test. Go ahead and click on that. Save sheet configuration. Now this is the new layout. New and improved, and it's eventually going to be what the default is. I like it a lot better. It ends up being a lot more intuitive, and everything that you need, or consistently need, we'll say, is always on this sheet instead of having to flip through multiple different tabs. So you've got your standard name, the class, level, race, background have all been moved from that description tab into just straight up right here. You can always see your level, always see your background, always see your class. It's just kind of nice to see that always right there. Here we've got short rest and long rest. I do not currently have these automated. I am currently working through that. Right now you'll see that if you click it, it will just tell you that the automation is coming soon. Over here on the left, always visible, is your HP and temp HP. Same with your AC, temp AC, your initiative bonus, and this is for the standard roll d20, take the highest, and you get initiative ordered there. This is not for the dex-based alternative rules. This is your attack bonus, the same crit range right here. And I've also switched all of the attributes to be on the sidebar instead of under their own tab, so that they are always rollable from any point in this sheet. Now you'll see base and current. The base is your standard attribute score. So that is what your character should have if they are not currently under any sort of buffs or penalties. That's where the current comes in. You'll see that I can change the base to anything, and it's not affecting the modifier. If I go over to current, that's when your modifier is going to be automatically updated. That is for easy switching back and forth of any sort of debuffs, any sort of buffs from spells, those things. And the current is what your rolls come from. You'll see that the target is 18, which is the current. It automatically updates any sorts of great success, terrible failures, which will cap out at 20, and it gives you a success or a failure. Let's go ahead and see if we can't make this a failure so that you can see the failure. There we go. And so that's the attributes. We'll go down to the luck, which I've currently got set at 13. Let's give this a decent success rate. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and give it a really good success rate. We'll go to Dex again and click on that. Boom, success, and you'll see that the luck has already been deducted. Now, if you don't want that to happen, you can always come back in here and re-up it to 13, but as a standard, it does automatically deduct on a successful roll. Now we'll go to let's go ahead and take this down to 2 for a good failure attempt. And you'll see terrible failure doesn't automatically deduct. And yeah, you're good right there. Next, you've got your reroll pool. No sort of automation there. You're just kind of selecting, and that's just for keeping track. You've got your favor, and you've also got your DDM, your Dark and Dangerous Magic. This is fully automated as well. Click it, you'll see it's a success, and it automatically raised by 1. Another success, and then a failure. Dropped immediately back down to 1, and in the chat says to roll on the DDM table, which we do have in the compendiums. We'll get there in a sec. One additional thing is that you can roll with advantage or disadvantage with your keyboard. If you shift-click on a specific attribute, we'll go to Constitution this time, it rolls 2d20, takes the better, in this case, the lowest. You can also Alt-click, and that will roll with disadvantage, taking that terrible failure at a 20. Next, we get into the skills. These are also always available on your character sheet, no matter what tabs you are under. We can do acrobatics, which is your standard dex roll. You see target 19, that is our current dex. And even better, as standard rules, if you click skilled, it actually ups your target to that 20. Again, always changes your great success and terrible failure based on your attribute score. Once we click away from this, you'll see that it automatically updates. New with this sheet, and not the old sheet, the default sheet, you can also add skills. We'll go in here to edit the skill, and the favorite one that was changed from not being a thing in the free sheet, which this is all modeled after, and being introduced in Deluxe, we'll go ahead and just keep it at strength, is sailing. We'll say that Ishtrak is skilled in sailing. Now, you'll notice that I can't click on the skill. That is because it is currently only editable in here. I disabled this clicking right here. Click on here, and we have the same layout right here. It is your standard skill check. You see that strength 2 is proficient or skilled, target 3. Now let's get over into the actual tabs. Over here, you've got your equipment. I've just got standard gold. You've got your rations, and then you've also got your weapons and items. Now, you can add your weapon right here, and it'll come up with your standard, much like the skills. Go in over here to the edit, enter in all of this stuff. Now, thanks to some great contributions from the community, most of these compendiums I did not actually create. They have been created from community members that have donated their time, essentially, in creating these compendiums. We'll jump over to the weapons. We'll give him the first one, drag it to the character sheet, and he now has a bastard sword that has everything filled out. These, and let's just kind of clean some things up here, are fully rollable from the sheet. Click on that bastard sword. You get your situational modifier as well as disadvantage, normal attack, and advantage. Click on it. That is a 15 to hit. It adds in your attack bonus, your -4 because we have a -4 on strength. So actually a pretty good roll right there. As well as any additional bonuses from that dialog box right there. Now, this might take a second, but let's see if we can't go ahead and get ourselves a natural 19. Oh, you'll see that the disadvantage works. There's your fumble. All right, well, we've got our critical hit. Again, comes up with the message critical hit, as well as your max damage for that specific weapon. It automatically calculates it so that you don't have to worry about figuring that out yourself. Well, it looks like the 19's not wanting to come up with me, but it will give you essentially like the critical hit and all of the fumbles and everything. It will come up with the denotation that it is a natural 19 and tell you exactly what's going to happen there. As you'll see under here, it has nat 19 disarm. It will come up with that in the message. Next, you'll see this roll damage, and that just goes ahead and takes the damage from the specific weapon. You'll see 1d8 right here. Make sure that you're adding, if you have a custom weapon, write it in this specific format, 1d8. If you want to have a +2 or something like that, we'll go ahead and roll this one again and roll that damage. And you'll see that it is, again, 1d8 +2. It still has your strength modifier automatically calculated in there. The same thing happens with any ranged weapons. It's just going to switch over to that dex. Again, we have a whole lot of compendiums made by the community. You'll have clothes with secret pockets. You have your disguise kits. They are separated between common, uncommon, rare, all of that from the book. And you'll see that all of them have their cost up in here as well as properties. All right, over to the next tab, we have features. Again, let's grab some of these from what is already, well, if I'm a rogue, let's go ahead and grab the rogue ones. So we have your standard, click on this, and it'll give you all of your properties and everything that you need for the rogue. It gives you your key attribute, hit points, everything like that. So click on that, drag, and that's a nice thing to just kind of have over there. Say you're leveling up and you need your tables and everything, you can click on this and it gives you the full rundown. You also have all of your tricks and techniques. These, again, just a general overview, and then you'll see trick all along here. New with this sheet and not in the default old sheet, you could actually have uses now. And you can actually go in here, give yourself max uses, and that's for ease of use. When you are using your tricks and techniques as a rogue or your fighter adaptability, those such things, you can easily track it from this sheet. Next up, we have magic. You'll see that your spell slots are right here. You have spells, again, as always, create one. You can go over here to edit or delete. I am going to go ahead and grab a spell. Great thing about this is we have spells, both the names from the standard and the deluxe. Thank you, Steve, for giving us permission for that. We'll go ahead and grab some spells from the deluxe. Behold the Secret Truth, a nice level 4 spell. Click that, rolls it over here, and you've got your 1d4 for duration automatically done there. You have a luck will. That does require, let's see if we can do it here. Okay, so it is automatically decrementing. I do need to fix that, I believe. And then you have your notes. This is other effects that might happen during gameplay, as well as your injuries, setbacks, madness, dark magic effects, and the notes has been switched over from the description tab in the old deal into the new one. Go ahead and save that right there. And you can do a whole slew of different things, including adding tables, bulleted lists, and whatnot. All right, so that is the new character sheet. We'll close out of that guy, delete these chat logs here, and jump into our NPC sheet. This has the same ability deal with the base, the current, automatically updated modifiers, great success, terrible failures, but everything is on a single sheet. The hit dice for the health, this guy does not have 10, he actually has 8 now. And there will be a total of 7 of them. That is for any sorts of monsters. Again, we have an amazing monsters compendium over here that has just about everything. We'll switch over here to air elemental, and it has everything updated. All of the health is set to 0 so that you can click that 5 and then update it over here to 21. Again, you can update your hit dice, like say for the air elementals. Let's say this is a big guy. There we go. And the appearing, even if it's just a 1, you can click it. It's just going to give you an automatic 1. That's more for these larger numbers. Now, currently, the attacks are not rollable from this, but instead I have this right here, which adds your hit dice modifier to the NPCs, and it does a 1d20. That is currently in the works. I'm thinking about adding a first attack, second attack, third attack kind of deal to these, and then any additional attacks from there can then be added in. The natural 19 just has a notes section, again, where I don't currently have the attacks as rollable from this point, and instead here, the natural 19 will not show up in the chat, but you can throw these things up here. And this is what you're going to want to use for any current NPCs that you make up yourself. This is the default. It always has your attack layout, your damage layout, and everything, and you can just kind of modify that. Just go in here and edit it, save, and it automatically updates right there. Again, there will be attacks from the NPC sheet right here in the future, in the near future. All right, so we've got your actor sheets, we've got your NPC sheets. One thing I do want to say as a tip and trick for GMs, first thing you're going to want to do whenever you add a new NPC is go up to prototype token and fill out all of this stuff. You want to link it to the actor data, you want to make sure your appearance is correct, and you want to make sure that your vision is correct. I currently don't have vision radius or anything because you can see in my scene under lighting I have unrestricted vision range, meaning that they can essentially see everything as long as it's not dark. And then here in the light, you can essentially, if you're going to go hardcore into like torchlight and stuff like that, you can essentially give your characters torches. You can do a radius for dim and bright. That's going to go out all 360 degrees. And you can also do emission angle. So say they have one of the shaded lamps, shaded lanterns. You can give a specific degree for your lantern. And then you're always going to want to make sure to press update token so that whenever you click on this, it updates both in the token. So say I change the strength back to 15. You'll see that it also updates over here in the Actors tab. All right, so I have taken you through all of your character sheets. In the compendiums, you can see I've already talked about the monsters, the class features, the equipment. You'll see that DDM effects are all here and very much draggable to your sheet. More features, more equipment, your spells, and your weapons. If you don't want to roll from the sheet, I do also have a weapons attack macro that you can drag to your macro bar. You click on the specific character so that you get all of the information from them there to hit, bonus, everything like that. And you click right here, and it's going to immediately roll your attack as well as your damage. It just automatically rolls everything right then and there. You don't get any of your natural 19s or anything like that from this quick macro. It's just to kind of keep things going along. You'll also see that I do have some useful macros in here. Again, some of these are just for, throwing over here to your macro bar. You can have automatic deduction of spell slots. You have your DDM roll right there, which will, since this is selected on Ishtrack, you see that it raised it by 1. And you have all of your luck saves, you reset spell slots for in between adventures, just regain all of those. The weapon attack macro does need some updating. It's a little bit more intense than these other weapon-based attack macros. It does need some updating to reach the version 9 and future version 10 of Foundry. I do have a small workaround for the dex-based initiative. Okay, so that is a 14. It's going to give you a success or failure over here. If it is a success, then you have a 1. If it is a failure, it will be 0, and that is when you can add this person to your rank. I am currently working on a better dex-based initiative macro that will add everyone to the tracker as well as make your rolls for you and automatically sort you in order, but that again is currently in development. So these are all of the rollable tables from the free PDF version of Low Fantasy Gaming. We have rollable tables of all of these spells. You've got random carry loot, chase events, your cities, towns, and villages, just about everything. One of the big ones, obviously, Dark and Dangerous Magic. Click on that, roll it, go over here to the chat, and this is the Dark and Dangerous Magic result that would be had if I failed on the spell lasts half as long as usual. Again, all from the free PDF version of Low Fantasy Gaming. All right. So we've gone through all of the quick overview of Foundry itself. We've gone through all of the actor sheets, the character and the NPC. We have gone through all of the compendiums that are included in the base Low Fantasy Gaming module, which is completely free. You can download it from Foundry's interface at no charge. It is purely community driven. In fact, if you want to be a part of this, you can find me at the Code 382 Discord, which I'll link down in the description. You can also find me on GitLab in Code 382. So yeah, if you want to contribute at all, feel free to jump on over there. I'm mostly active on the Discord, everything from bug reports to feature requests, all of that stuff. Purely Foundry, purely Low Fantasy Gaming, Low Life, Black Iron, all of that stuff. And that's where we talk about all this. That's where I've been getting all of the ideas to update these sheets and everything. And that's why Low Fantasy on Foundry has as much support as it does. It's thanks to all of the contributors, all of the community. It's been a great community. So last for this video, I'm going to do a quick rundown of some of the modules that I'll use to really help run my games. Adventure music is pretty great. It's essentially just a giant compendium of music, very, very cinematic. Always centered. That's nice for whenever you're moving your tokens. You turn that on, click a token, and move it with the keyboard, and it will keep that token always in the center of the screen. Not great for split parties, I'll say, but whenever you're moving a specific token, it keeps them always in the center, so you are always seeing exactly what that token sees when you have any sort of walls or line of sight. Dice So Nice, that's what you've been seeing with all of the virtual dice rolls. Great module, really adds to the virtual tabletop experience instead of just being numbers on a screen. It's interactive dice. In fact, you can even play around with them. You can change this to not be true, but yeah, doesn't change the result or anything. It's just kind of fun to play around with. Dice Tray is a big one for me. That handles any of the spur of the moment rolls. Instead of having to go over here in the chat and taking time, as little time as it is, typing out roll 1d20, you can just click right here and click roll. You can add them up, and it's just super easy. You can even add modifiers right here. Very good for on-the-fly rolls. Some more battle map collections. Fog Manager. The quest log is really fun if you really want to kind of gamify your games. I've been playtesting a system. Might not be everybody's cup of tea, but essentially the stuck in a video game world. This has been kind of leaning into that, and it's very much like you see the quests and everything, and you have like a check mark, and you see which quests you've completed, which quests you currently have active, which quests are kind of like, not active. You're not really keeping track of them. It's a fun one. More maps, more effects masters. That's for whenever I'm creating kind of pretty in-depth landing screens. This is a must-have when you are hosting video from self-hosting Foundry. I will say it might be better to do that via Discord because when you're hosting video in Foundry, my experience has been that sometimes video can pause, sometimes it can lag, get kind of choppy. Discord's a little bit better for that. It seems like it's less resource heavy. These two are just purely necessities for other modules, and they'll tell you about that. Lock view, you can just lock it into your screen. Your players can't like right click and drag. More packs right here. Mini maps fun for large dungeon crawls. Let's see here. Multi-level tokens, very fun for doing kind of like teleportation or things like, say you have two different stories, you can actually click on a specific point and it will take that character into the second level. Very, very interesting module. Pop-out is big. Oh, I skipped pings. Pings is also very big. I'll go ahead and we'll save that one. Jump up here and you click and hold. You do need a module pings for this ability. Pop-out is great. It's wonderful for your players. They are able to pop their window out so that they can always have a character sheet on a different tab.